You joke, but people would lose teeth for it.
Really?
Again, this is just from what I've seen and heard, and that type of thing is personal experience. I'm not pointing at any countries or anything like that. But certain categories, the people are, if you're disabled enough or unable enough or whatever, not to dive in from the start, but to start from inside of the water. So when you start inside of the water, there's some people, if they don't have arms, they'll have their feet propped up against the wall. A helper will have a towel or a rope
wrapped around there,
holding it on the side of the pool, and then the swimmer will bite onto it with their mouth, pull themselves out of the water, and then on go would throw themselves back. Now, some countries figured out that if the swimmer is not holding on with their mouth on the towel, but instead lying flat in the water on their back with that assistant holding their ankles up against the wall, if they push off like that, they'll have a slight advantage over the person who's propped themselves up holding on with their mouth. So story goes that they had the teeth removed of the swimmer, so technically they got away with not having to come up and hold on to the towel.
These people. Guys, welcome to another episode of Jibber with Jabber. Today I have got a very, very inspiring guest with an inspiring story. Kevin Paul, a two-time gold medalist, one-time silver medalist, Paralympics. Now, there are so many things I want to talk about.
I cannot wait.
And also, I mean, we spoke about this before. How do you feel about, how are people supposed to describe, or, because first you had disabled, and then it was like, we shouldn't say able-bodied because some people, because are able-bodied, and then it's like people of determination, or what is the correct? Because I don't think there should be one.
Like, I feel offended.
Yeah, right.
No. Exactly,
so but that's the point I'm making. Yeah,
no, it's. I think for the next 5 years we're going to see a change every 6 to 12 months. Someone feeling offended and having to change. Man,
we're getting very sensitive as a society, right?
Exactly. I mean, from my side is, I am who I am.
Yeah.
I don't care what you label me as. I'm a person at the end of the day. We both need to drink water. We both need to sleep and wake up and eat to survive and carry on from day to day. So what's really different between us?
This is the thing, because I just keep seeing every 2 months, 6 months, 7 months, it's like, give me a list of all the things I'm not allowed to say. And I'm not just talking about disabilities. I'm talking about all different things. It's like, we're becoming such a sensitive society now.
That's the thing is, I mean, it's great that we can sit here and we can talk openly about it like this, whereas you find in other situations where you're in interviews, you're literally going into the interview with a list of things. Okay, I can't say that. I shouldn't say that. Let's avoid this. Let's avoid that. Man, what happened to just being able to talk
this is the thing, and this is the kind of thing that I
without the consequences of what might come later.
Exactly, and this is what I do at the beginning of every podcast. I'm like, mate, tell me what you don't want to talk about, because I'm pretty much gonna do. We're gonna rip the shit out of everything that's going on. Now, how was it growing up with a disability? Is it something that was a major challenge? Because it's very easy for me to say, but your disability, when I was looking for it, like when I first met you, I didn't notice it.
Well, that's the thing. With me, it's a very different side of things. First of all, you said they're Paralympics. So the minute someone thinks Paralympics, they think, okay, disabled person, or however it is we need to label it now in the correct way, not to offend anyone. But so you immediately think, yes, Kevin needs to be disabled. You look at me walking down the street or anything like that, you won't necessarily see my disability. So what it's called is called Poland syndrome. And with Poland syndrome, basically the pec major and pec minor on the left-hand side of my chest, I don't have that at all. So it's literally just chest, or my ribs onto skin. So I don't have the pec major, pec minor. My shoulder structure on the left-hand side is completely different to that of a normal shoulder structure. So I'm very limited in my range of motion on the left-hand side. My left arm, is a lot shorter than my right arm. And then you would see what you would call a deformed or different hand on the left-hand side as well. Now, because of that's then obviously made me eligible to swim in the Paralympics. But you asked there now, how was it growing up as a disabled person or Paralympian, if you want to call it that? I mean, when I was born, doctors told my parents, listen here, your son's a little bit different. You're going to have to be a little bit careful with him. We've never really seen this before, so wrap him in cotton wool. Let's see how things go. When he turns 3 or 4, we can see how things get and move forward from there. And I think mainly because of the way that my parents are and the way that they brought me up, they didn't see this as a disability. They were just like, Kevin, we don't care about what's different with you. You're going to do everything. And especially also growing up in South Africa, sport is life.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. You guys are probably like, what do you mean cotton wool? We're South African, but it's not happening.
There's no cotton wool. Rocks. We'll throw rocks at you. Toughen up, boy. That type of thing. But yeah, I mean, the way that my parents brought me up was to never see this as a disability, but just to see it as my own different ability. And if something was a little bit harder, I'd still get there in the end. Little things, I mean, tying shoelaces because of my hand that's different. I didn't have the mobility in the fingers. Learning how to tie my shoelace, learning how to do my buttons to my pants or to my shirt. It all took a little bit longer than any of the other kids because I was trying to do it with one hand. And obviously growing up, if you're different, you're going to get picked on a little bit. So there was always that different side of things, but I think it was mainly because of the way that my parents brought me up and that mindset. It was that, man, if you are different, it doesn't mean anything. Just work a little bit harder, find a way, and make sure you get it done at the end of the day. And that's basically been my mindset from a little kid, thanks to my parents.
Because I think the difficult thing is that children are very honest, and even if they're not saying it in a mean way, children are bastards. They'll say exactly what they see. So when you were young, I'm assuming somebody would have gone, why do you have a little hand? Or what? Do you know what I mean?
Pointed out as you have a little hand. I'm going to tell you have a little hand. Tell me why you have a little hand.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that you had a lot of that when you were growing up with other children, right?
Like you just said, you have that good intention of just someone asking, and they see, man, this guy's got a screwed up hand. Let me ask him about it. But then on the other hand, no pun intended.
Look, I was waiting for this. But
but I mean, on that as well, when you are in preschool and you obviously everyone knows who you are still getting those little jabs. People used to, because my fingers are webbed, frog fingers and little things like that, which I now I'll laugh about. But when you're 6 years old and you've got 10 people pointing at you and telling you, you have fingers like a frog, man, you think that the world is ending in that little moment. So, but I mean, it just makes us all tougher and move on with life.
And is that something that you really kind of like used as a fuel to kind of push you, or was it kind of like, you guys are idiots? I mean,
I wouldn't say it was fuel or anything for me to go and prove the world wrong or anything like that. I didn't have an agenda or a vendetta against people. It was, like I said earlier, it's just that mindset that my parents gave me with anything in life, that if you want to do it, don't do it half-assed. Like, make sure you're putting everything into it and go for it. You are going to get there in the end. So that's always been my mindset to think. It's never, I'm going out there to prove these people wrong who called me frog fingers or anything like that. I was just, no, if I'm enjoying something, if I've got a passion for it, nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to go do it.
Yeah. What's your advice to people who, for example, because we had a conversation about this the other day. So I was telling you that I went out. It was an MMA situation. A friend of mine was doing an MMA fight, and I met this old Iraqi guy who was, he's obviously lost a limb in the war in the Saddam Hussein days, and he had a very kind of old looking bad prosthetic hand, the one that was just like, it was like a mannequin, doesn't move, whatever. And when we went to say hello to each other,
type of thing.
Exactly. He purposely gave me that hand. So it got to the point, like, was he just fucking with me? Is it something that he starts to enjoy people's reactions by putting them on the spot like that, or is it like do you guys have like a secret
for disabled people?
Is it like an Illuminati?
We love making people feel awkward.
Because I was like, he could have very easily just given me the other hand. Yeah. But I felt like he was looking for my reaction.
Looking for that reaction.
Like that kind of,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Completely.
So,
completely. I mean, no, it's not a rule, or it's not something that I am disabled, I will make people feel awkward for the rest of my life. We don't take an oath or anything like that.
I don't know, to be honest, I feel like you guys might have some kind of secret going on.
These are unwritten rules. But I mean, from myself, I do the exact same thing. I told you as well, it's like if you, recently as the last weekend, you go to an all-inclusive weekend at a hotel or something here, you need to get an armband put on. I'm not going to give my right hand, I'm going to give my left hand just to see what the reaction is that I'm going to be getting. So, and I've been like that my entire life. Even as a kid, I remember stopping, or in South Africa, obviously there's a lot of difference between rich and poor. So there's a lot more poverty than what we used to here in Dubai. So you stop at a we call it South Africa a robot, which is a traffic light to everywhere else in the world. Stop at a traffic light and you have people come up to the car begging type of thing. And one of the things that people do in South Africa as well, they'll fake a disability to try and make you feel sorry for them and then move on. So me as a kid, while they crunch their fingers up like this and come to the window, and I'll just stick out my hand like this and like put it up against the window and just look at them. and these people will just run off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
from a young age already, I just learned to just own it and go with it. And,
Yeah.
and every now and then I do like seeing the awkward reaction that I get
Yeah.
out of people.
How do you feel? Do you feel like there is? Do you feel like people are being overly awkward more than they need to be with certain disabilities?
I wouldn't
as somebody
say, yeah.
as somebody who has. See, look, this is the thing. What do we say?
How do you say it? How do I approach it? Am
Because
I going to offend someone?
I'm saying this for the viewers. Me, I don't care. You're a mate. I'll just say,
Yeah.
like, for somebody who has a smaller hand than the other one. Like,
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? But should people be aware and be comfortable going, oh, what happened? Or what is that? Could you explain your ability to me or something like
disability
that?
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it's not just with disability. I think as humans, when we don't understand something or if we don't know something about something else, some of us are brave enough to just look it straight in the face and ask questions, whereas nowadays I think people are also just scared to ask.
Scared to be cancelled for everything.
Exactly. Shut down.
But what do you prefer? Because I'm very inquisitive. Like, whenever I see something, even if it's an injury or if someone young dies, I want to know how. Or do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
from my side, is if we were talking and I'll know if you're glancing at my hand the entire time and just trying to peek. It's more awkward for you not to say something than to just be like, hey man, what's wrong with your hand?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. You've noted. Otherwise, I'd always be wearing long sleeves, trying to cover it or keeping it behind my back. Or when I'm sitting, I'd have my right hand. To me, I don't care. So if you notice it, ask me.
Yeah.
And I can't speak on behalf of every single person who's got a disability or something different about them. But at the end of the day, we are human beings. We just want to be treated the same and just carry on with life.
I think that's the really important thing that people need to realize is, like, everybody wants to make a separation for so many things.
But again,
in life.
Just because you can see my disability is one thing. Everyone has a disability. You sitting there, you
Yeah.
have your own things that
Exactly.
they affect you being able to move forward in life.
Yeah.
Mine you can see on the outside physically. Other people carry things emotionally or within them that are stopping them being able to get to their goals or progress in life. So everyone carries something that's holding them back.
Yeah, I'm really always fascinated by these things. So you said that you don't have the chest muscle on top of there.
Yeah.
How does that work in regards to protection of the heart and these things?
Less protection at the end of the day. So basically, it's rib cage and heart.
Okay. Wow.
Obviously, I've got the intercostal muscles and the cartilage and everything over there, but no pec major, no pec minor, completely absent.
But you're still skydiving and just you don't care. You just be like,
I don't think I need my
did you play
pecs for
rugby?
skydiving.
Did you play any rugby?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is we're all growing up.
Impact sports.
Yeah, I played impact sports all the way through. I mean, as a child, we go back to what the doctor said. They said, don't let him do anything. My parents made me do everything. And it wasn't just as a disabled athlete. I did everything against what you would call able-bodied athletes. So up until 2008, which was when I was 16 years old, I played in South Africa. We take rugby very seriously. Schoolboy rugby when you're at school is a very serious thing. So I ended up playing A-level rugby all the way through till then under 15 age group. I'll always make mention of this. The South African captain of the World Cup in 2019 that we won, Sio Khaleesi, I played with him in the same team. Type of thing. So this was being done by a person who was told don't go and do contact sport. Surf lifesaving is a huge sport in South Africa as well. I went and took part against able-bodied, not only kids of my own age, but against men. So open age groups, having won national titles for that.
Wow.
Water polo at an age group level, nationals as well. So this was all being done by a disabled person who was told he's not going to be able to do it. Now is going and doing it. And again, not because I'm special or because I'm this mighty guy or anything. I always go back to it was the mindset that I was given by my parents, and it's just to, if you enjoy it, go for it and don't care what people think. You're going to be able to excel at it.
But I mean, I think that is pretty special, the mindset part of it, because not a lot of people have that kind of mindset. And people...
Maybe I'm just naive. It's because of the way that I grew up.
I think we're being humble about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, to become a gold medal winning Olympian is not, it's pretty special. It's not something that you're just like, I'm not really special, but I'm a champion.
No, exactly.
Like at the end of the day, you push yourself further than, 90% of the world can say that they have. So what made you think swimming?
Man,
Where'd you go? All right, I'm going to swim.
There wasn't really a point, but if I think about my childhood, if I go back to memories or anything like that, there's always water involved. Grew up on the coast of South Africa, so before I could walk, I was already surfing type of thing. Before I could talk, my dad had me in the water while he was spearfishing or fishing, so I was always around water. So there's always been a huge part of my life. Back to South Africa again, sporting mad. It's part of your life. If you're not playing sport, what are you doing as a child type of thing? So I've always been exposed to a lot of different activities on the sporting front. Always knew that I enjoyed swimming, and I always knew that I was pretty good at it as well. I mean, as a kid growing up all the way through, I was always beating all the able-bodied people. Everyone knew I was different and disabled, but I was swimming circles around able-bodied guys. So
people started questioning. They're like, "Hold on, he's got a superpower here. Like
inability,
or
this
is an extra ability that he's got? Yeah,
don't let him go to the Olympics."
Yeah.
So I always knew that swimming was something that I really enjoyed. And then 2008 Paralympic Games came around, which was Beijing. Up until 2008, I'd never taken part in Paralympic events or sports because I was dominating, if you want to call it that, in the able-bodied side of things. Never did I think of, hey, going and doing the Paralympics. And back then as well, it wasn't always a big thing, the Paralympics. People knew the Paralympics existed, and it was something that happened after the Olympics. But more than that, people couldn't give you more information on that. It wasn't in the limelight type of thing. So the opportunity came in 2008 to go to the Paralympic Games, and that would have been in September. And I got that opportunity in January already to start thinking about it. So then I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it properly. And that's when I then, no more surfing, no more life saving, no more rugby. Let's try this. Let's put everything into it and see what comes of that. So it was probably when I was about 16 where I started taking it very seriously. I was serious about it before that. I was still doing 10, 11 sessions a week, 3 to 4 hours a day prior to that. But then in 2008, that's when everything just became swimming focused.
Wow. And then, so in the space of a year, basically, from when you decided.
Yeah, but like I said, it's not like I decided and it all of a sudden happened. I was training hard.
To be a swimmer?
To be a swimmer, yes. But at the same time, I was also surfing
That's
every
what
day.
I mean. So
rugby 4 times a week.
It wasn't your chosen, like, I'm going to go to the Olympics, whether it would be the Olympics or the Paralympics. It wasn't like I'm a swimmer as my sport. Because, you know, when a lot of young athletes, they're like, I just do this.
I always knew I was going to be a swimmer, yes. But I was very adamant that I wasn't going to be a swimmer at the same time. I always wanted to be a well-balanced person at the end of the day. I enjoyed all the other things that were going on in my life. So I try to keep those going as long as possible until I felt, okay, now is the point where you need to decide if you really want to take it to the next level. You can't be taking all these other activities with you. Now it's time to focus, sharpen the pencil, and move forward to that one. But I always knew I was going to be a swimmer.
So Beijing was your first Olympic?
Yes. And
you won gold in your first competition?
Yeah, so, man.
Again, pretty special, bro.
I didn't even know what was going on. I was 17 years old at the time. Now, any major competition that you go to, when people get there, everyone kind of knows who the top 5 or top 10 people are. Everyone's watching them when you get there the 3 weeks before, doing the warm-ups. Everyone's eating together in the food hall, in the athlete village. I was 17 years old on my first trip, just taking pictures and videos of everything. People didn't know who I was. As a 17-year-old boy, I didn't even know who I was. I was going through all these changes. I remember diving in for the heats, looking up at the time and being like, man, I've just gone like 5 seconds faster than I've ever gone in my life. And I'd ended up breaking the world record in the morning already. Wow. And I was just like, shit, what is going on here? Had the finals, improved on that time, looked up, and all of a sudden I found myself standing on the podium at a Paralympic Games, getting the gold medal put around my neck, watching the South African flag go up, singing the national anthem. And I didn't really fully grasp what had been done. And only when I got back to South Africa again that I realized, man, Kevin, you did more than just swim 2 lengths of the pool and win a race. Like, it means a lot, not only to me and my team, but to the country as well.
You had the country on your shoulders, basically, without even realizing what you were carrying.
Not at all. I didn't know what was going on.
And you beat the world record carrying a country on your shoulders, extra weight. That's crazy. That's nuts. Especially, like, you know, a lot of people say that they don't realize until they kind of get back home and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. You see that it's again, as an athlete, you spend so much time in the day-to-day just focusing on that 100 meters. Everything I'm doing is dedicated towards that 100 meters, and you get so tied up in the nitty-gritty things that only when you get back and you realize and you see the impact that my 1 minute in the pool has had on a country of 40 million people, that you actually realize, like, shit, this was more than just a race. This has given our country something to be happy about and unite people. And in South Africa, the late Nelson Mandela, that's what he said, is that sport has the power to unite people. Doesn't matter their backgrounds or their differences, sport brings everyone together.
It's so true. Like, you can get a bunch of random people, put a football in between them, and
one of them will start screaming, it's coming home.
Exactly. And if it's a bunch of Lebanese people playing, they're just going to be shouting at each other for the whole game. But you can literally, I mean, you don't have to know someone
to enjoy sport.
You don't know that, like, you get 11 strangers, put them on the pitch for that whatever time. They're just, there's no worries, there's no troubles. They're just focused on what they're doing together.
Universal. It
teams,
exactly.
Here's a question that I want to ask, which I think is funny, because obviously Paralympics is not as big as the Olympics. It's getting there now. It's getting the awareness and all that stuff. Because I was having a conversation with my brother, and it's weird how little people know about these things. So I was telling him, you're coming on, and I was like, yeah, he was in the Paralympics and that, and he was like, well, how is he swimming if he's supposed to be paralyzed? And I was like, the Paralympics is not paralyzed people.
I'm completely paralyzed, like, and I just move my nostrils.
I said to him, what kind
of
Olympics would it be if every sport was paralyzed? And then he thought about it for a second, and he was like, yeah, what did I say? That was the most stupid thing I could have said. But again,
and it's not him being stupid. It's just, he doesn't know.
Exactly, he doesn't know, and it kind of the light bulb hit, and he was just like, "Yeah, that was a pretty silly comment to kind of make," you know. How is it when it comes to choosing? Is there a limit to the disability, or for swimming? Like, is there like an inside beef between other swimmers? We're going, yeah, but I had a leg missing, and you had both of your arms.
I'm more legit than
that's
you.
what I mean. Is it an actual thing where people are like, yeah, you're not as disabled as me?
But that's the beauty of the Paralympics. So if you watch the Paralympics, you have shapes and bodies, all different disabilities. It's a licorice all sorts packet. You can find anything. No arms, no legs and no arms. Arms but no legs. Anything and everything exists at the Paralympics. Now, obviously, you can't have certain disabilities competing against each other. So the way that they do it is they categorize people by disabilities. So I won't speak on behalf of the athletics or anything else, but it works the same in athletics as it does in swimming. So in swimming, you have physical disabilities, which get ranked on a system of 1 to 10. S1 to S10, S being for swimming. And S1 will be the most, if you want to call it, the biggest disabilities, whereas S10 are the people with the least amount of disabilities. So I swam in the category S10. Okay. So when I lined up against all the other swimmers in my race, we all more or less looked like we didn't have a disability, if that makes sense, because we were the least disabled people at the Paralympic Games. As you then go down to S9, you'll start seeing people without the limbs.
With the limbs, yeah.
So it's something a little technical. If it's below the elbow, you would be an S9. If it's an amputation on the elbow or above the elbow, could possibly categorize you S8. Okay. It's not exactly. You go through tests, you'll go through physical screening, through multiple doctors, that type of thing. So they make it as fair as possible so that people of similar and same disabilities are competing against each other. That's on the physical spectrum or side of things. Then you also have the visual side of things. So in swimming, you've got 3 when it comes to the visual side of things: S13, S12, and S11. S11 is completely blind. S12, people can see light and shapes, whereas S13 is visual impairment. So I can speak from experience of one of my teammates. What we can see clearly 60 meters away, he can only start seeing the outlines of it when he's 1 meter away from it.
Okay.
So he's not completely blind, but he can't see details. He's never going to be able to read. He's not going to be able to drive a car. So they've got that for the visually impaired as well. So there's different categories for the visually impaired, 3 of them in swimming. And then there's one for the mental handicap as well. And that'll be people on different spectrums. Again, a lot of testing that goes on involved in that to make sure that the people who are swimming in that category belong in that category. Exactly. So again, you'll always hear some politics involved, people protesting, saying that swimmer from that country is not disabled enough to be in this level, that type of thing. They've put as many tests and criteria as possible, and obviously sometimes things slip through the cracks, but more than it doesn't happen often. So it is as fair as possible.
But there's no like guy who's just like cut off 2-3 of his fingers because he was a swimmer in the actual Olympics. Couldn't quite make it, but it's
Man,
like maybe I can.
I'm not here.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It has happened.
Really?
There are crazy stories.
Tell me something. Tell me something.
Again, when you're at the Paralympic Games, people are here for medals at the end of the day. And
it's a bunch
countries,
of Russians. Yeah, you will have to lose some fingers today.
You joke, but people would lose teeth for it.
Really?
And again, this is just from what I've seen and heard, and that type of thing is personal experience. I'm not pointing at any countries or anything like that. But certain categories, the people are, if you're disabled enough or unable enough or whatever, not to dive in from the start, but to start from inside of the water. So when you start inside of the water, there's some people, if they don't have arms, they'll have their feet propped up against the wall. A helper will have a towel or a rope
wrapped around there,
holding it on the side of the pool, and then the swimmer will bite onto it with their mouth, pull themselves out of the water, and then on go would throw themselves back. Now, some countries figured out that if the swimmer is not holding on with their mouth on the towel, but instead lying flat in the water on their back with that assistant holding their ankles up against the wall, if they push off like that, they'll have a slight advantage over the person who's propped themselves up holding on with their mouth. So story goes that they had the teeth removed of the swimmer, so technically they got away with not having to come up and hold on to the towel.
These people,
man, there's a medal involved here. Anything for that medal. So that's one example. Other example is people who have no feeling below the hips or anything like that. There's stories of guys taking pins and sticking it inside it or on their testicles because they can't feel it, but doing that, it raises your adrenaline and you swim faster.
Wait, we need to test this. Bring your testicles.
Bring the pins.
This pin to me. You're always talking about that African pride. Come, bro. It's time to test.
Pin the tail on the donkey.
Wait.
Yeah.
If you put a pin,
or anything,
clips are going to be amazing on this episode. If you put a pin into the testicle, as in into the ball,
they don't feel the pain. That's the benefit of their disability.
You're not going to feel the pain, bro. Don't worry. Yeah, see, he did the ice bucket as well, and he couldn't feel his balls there. We could have tested it then, bro.
There we go.
Okay.
So there were stories of guys actually sticking simple drawing pin into their nuts. Adrenaline goes up. They swim faster.
You mean because of the pain? So the physical, the body's gonna do that.
The body has got more adrenaline going. He can't feel it, but he's getting an advantage.
I see. I didn't think that for some reason. My stupid brain thought that there was a part of the ball that if you put a pin in
no. There's no
release all
area
of it.
sitting there trying to get the exact spot.
It's going to release all of this kind of endorphins in your body.
Coach, come on, I can't get the spot.
I keep missing. I'm still feeling tired.
No. So it's just the pure adrenaline that comes out of it. They don't feel the pain, and that adrenaline is going to help them swim a little bit faster to the other side. So these are all the dark secrets. I'm not saying.
How does that feel? That must feel really bad. Thinking, well, guys, just this is the
again. That's the Paralympic side. I'm not saying it happens all the time. These are just stories that I've heard, and you can ask Paralympians that everyone will have a different type of story that they've heard as well. But again, people are cheating in any other way of life as well, not only in sports and Olympics, but in business and every walk of life. So again, like I said, is people spend their lives just for that moment to get the gold medal. If it means me sticking something into myself, which I'm not going to feel and is going to get me there a little bit quicker, some people choose that route.
And it's probably coaches as well, coaches with reputations and that so kind of stuff pressure. That they're...
I mean, from myself, I can always say I did everything clean and I've got nothing that will come back and bite me in the ass one day. But then you look at the story Icarus, which was out on Netflix, and the whole Russian scandal and everything. A lot of these doping schemes and that type of thing are funded by the country's government. Who are you then as an athlete to go, no, I'm going to stay clean when your government is funding the whole program? So it's a very difficult topic to speak about as an athlete. I know what I did to get to where I was. I don't know what my competitors did to get to where they were. And again, you need to go to bed at night knowing if you did something correctly or not.
They should have did what you did and used 4 pins, mate. They should have
used 5.
It's around. Okay, let's talk about Uncle Oscar.
Oh, wow.
And I want to know, because this works on a lot of levels with you personally, because not only are you a Paralympian, you're a Paralympian champion, but you're also South African. So there's a lot of connection there with that.
A lot of connection. I knew the guy personally.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about that. How did that affect the South African Paralympian world, and you as a athlete?
On a personal level, I can speak only personally for myself now. I knew him relatively well, and where I was studying law at the time. Riva had studied law at the same university that I was at, so there was a common connection between the three of us. Not that I was close or friends or going out on weekends with all of them, but I mean, every time we traveled internationally competing, I would be there, he would be there, so I knew him personally. Obviously, I still remember the day of it happening, the 14th of February. Back then, I was in class at varsity, just got this message from all my friends just saying, Kevin, have you seen what's happened? Have you seen what's happened? Have you seen what happened? And man, part of me wanted to believe it, part of me didn't want to believe it. Obviously, the whole world knows what happened for the months afterwards with the court case and everything. I'm not here to say one thing or another, but I mean, it's difficult for anyone and everyone who was involved in that.
Do you feel like it's, you know, I mean, part of me is like, look, why should it be any more of a story because it was a Paralympian who did it, because if it was an athlete or a sprinter who was
us as humans, we love seeing idols fall.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like you said, I can speak of South Africa. Yeah. There's crime every single day. There's people getting murdered every single day. Why aren't those on TV? That type of thing. Again, though, but like you just said, or like I just said there as well, people love to see an idol fall at the end of the day. Be it if he was guilty or not guilty or anything like that. This grabbed the attention of the entire world, similar to with O.J. Simpson back in the day, that type of thing. So people wanted to know, and everyone became an expert on both sides of the story. And I mean, it's just
it's a tough thing, right?
It's a tough topic.
Do you think it worked in favor slightly of bringing more attention to the Paralympics?
Not really. I mean,
sometimes negative can bring positive.
It can bring positive. I think if you look at the history of the Paralympic Games, Beijing did a very good job at making things even. Not so much in it comes down to the countries back home if they're going to broadcast in the same level as what they broadcast the Olympic Games. But what Beijing did was they made sure that everything and anything the Olympic athletes got when they were at the Olympic Games in Beijing, Paralympic athletes got the exact same. So they set that standard. If you looked at the crowds, the stadiums were full, not because people were forced to be there, but because people wanted to be there and see the Paralympic athletes take part. Then London took it up a whole nother level again. So thanks to Beijing taking it up a level, the rest of the Paralympic Games after that have had seen more exposure with everything. Now, coming back to Oscar, he went and did something incredible for Paralympic sports by going and qualifying for the Olympic Games in London in 2012. So he was the poster boy of the Olympic Games and the Paralympic Games. So he was the epitome of the human spirit. Everyone could look at him and go, wow, I relate to that guy. I've had to come over something in my life before. This guy has not seen it as an obstacle. He's gone out there and he's raced against able-bodied people in the Olympic Games. So he did do a lot for the sport. He did do a lot for the Paralympic movement. What happened afterwards is obviously something completely separate. But what he did in 2012 for the sport, incredible.
How do you think? Because some people were going, well, look, he's got an advantage in the able-bodied Olympic Games. Just like this is T100 that I'm running against. Do you know what I mean? He's part machine, part human, essentially. Because when it comes to prosthetics, we're in a day and age now where they can be an advantage, right?
It is and I'm not going to sit here and
say
speak.
that, and there's a Terminator right there next to you.
Exactly. Man. But I'm not going to sit here and act like an expert about prosthetics or anything like that. But from my side, as I didn't see it as an advantage or anything. You can see it from the start of the race because he's missing the bottom half of his legs. He's missing all those fast twitch fibers as well. He can't get out of the blocks as fast as anyone else can. But then when he gets into his stride, he keeps that momentum a little bit longer because there's less lactic acid, because there's less muscles. So things are, you can get very technical with it. To me, I don't see it as an advantage. But then on the other side of things, then you start seeing on the Paralympic side of things, people fighting because, yes, you beat me because you're your blades are longer than mine.
Or they're better, or they're better quality, or
Exactly. So on one
I would
side,
have just made a long blade, like all the way long at the bottom. So like 2 steps and you've already,
And
I
you're already
passed the
there.
line. It's not my
And
fault. Yeah,
there was a huge debacle, or whatever you want to call it, in 2012 at the Paralympic Games. After he competed in London at the Olympic Games, he then obviously competed in the Paralympic Games. And I don't know if it was the 200 or the 4. I think it was the 200. He ended up losing the 200 to a Brazilian athlete. And then the big thing in that race became, yes, he beat Oscar because his blades are illegal and they're too long. He's too tall when he's got his blades on compared to when he's got his normal prosthetics on. So it comes back to you're saying it's not an advantage when it comes to Olympics, and now 2 weeks later you're talking about, yes, but his are longer, so he's got more of an advantage. A little bit of a grey area. To me, I don't see it as an advantage. I think what he did for the Paralympic Games, making it there,
man. And again,
huge.
This is the thing. It's not just an inspiration for people with disabilities. It's an inspiration for people, anyone, because it's just like, I can't be asked to do that, all that training, all that stuff, and it's like I don't think people understand the amount of effort that goes into being an athlete. I mean, I used to play professional football when I was younger. I mean, that was my trajectory. That's where I was going. But even then, as footballers, it's not the same as swimmers, as sprinters, as that, because their training is a lot more intense and a lot more during the day. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because with swimming, I used to have a friend who's swimming, and they're doing 8-hour swims, like throughout the day. They swam for 8 hours, and it's just like, wow, that's
so
like,
it
and every day.
consumes your life.
Do you know
and
what I mean?
or going back to you were saying, like, people don't understand, they don't grasp what it takes to get there. Not only in sport, but in anything. If you want to be the best in the world at anything, it's going to take a special type of person to do it. If you want to be the best, blacksmith, or the best whatever it is, you can't be the same as anyone else to get to that point. So as athletes, it takes something special.
That single-mindedness.
And you say single-mindedness there. I was going to use the word selfishness. You become selfish. And I felt it from 2012 to 2016. 2008 Beijing, I didn't know who I was. I went and did this thing. I got a gold. My life changed. I ended up getting endorsement deals in left, right, center, driving whichever car I wanted because people were letting me drive them. And it was great. It was fun. 2012 came, I got silver. And you'll say, hey, well done, Kevin, you got silver at Paralympic Games. To me, I was like, no, I didn't sacrifice all of these years to come second. So I made the decision then in 2012 to work towards 2016.
For Rio.
And for the Rio Games. And my whole life from about 2 weeks after the London Games all revolved around the 8th of September 2016, because I knew my 100-meter breaststroke would be on the 8th of September 2016. So every decision I made from that day was, is it going to help me towards that goal or is it not? If it's not going to help me, move aside. I'm not going to give you any consideration or anything. If it is going to help me, I'll choose to do that. And that's how I lived my life for the 4 years, in every decision that I made. And I can look back at it now and say, yes, it was a little bit selfish, but at the same time, I wasn't a dick about it. Like I always acknowledge that even though when I stand on the blocks, I'm alone, or when I get the medal, I'm standing there alone, it wasn't alone. My team was there with me, and I wouldn't have been able to get to that point without the support structures that I had. So yes, I had to be very selfish, but at the same time, I had to respect and understand that I had a team around me the entire time.
Why did you get the silver medal at that time? Did you feel like you let it go to your head a little bit and you got a bit too comfortable? Were you just pissing about a bit, or
not at all?
Was there too many nice cars that you were driving around in when you should have been swimming? Exactly. You know full well you should have been swimming.
But I mean, when I was 17, I ended up coming back, and I was in my final year of school. I ended up getting a contract with which is Daimler Chrysler, so Mercedes-Benz, Dodge, Jeep, anything like that. I managed to just take anything off the floor that I wanted to drive. So, man, it was cool as a 7 or an 18-year-old then being able to just drive whatever car you want in South Africa. I was never, I'm not famous. I never was famous, but I went from just being a kid to, at least in my hometown, everyone knowing who you are. So I never let it get to my head or anything. And you asked, did I do this or do that? No, I was completely always towards 2012. It was in 2012, I think it was the 10th of September that I was always aiming towards. So I always knew the date that I was working towards. Obviously on the day it didn't work out for me. Ended up getting the silver medal. Still a great performance, was my best time for that year and that type of thing. But deep down inside, I wasn't content with that. I didn't wake up every single morning at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I didn't from the age of 17 to 21. I wasn't going out with that's when you're at varsity. That's when you're going out. You're partying with your mate. I never did any of that. Friday nights, I finished training. I went home so that I could be back in the pool at 6 a.m. on Saturday. So I didn't have those years of just going mad or anything like that. So there was that disappointment in 2012, knowing that I put all these sacrifices in and I didn't get away with that maybe it's being selfish again. I didn't get the gold. Oh, poor Kevin. He didn't get
I totally get it. I mean,
it's a personal, like I said, if I'm working towards something, I want that gold. Didn't get it, and it just motivated me more for 2016.
Yeah, I mean, as your friend, I would have been disappointed with you, and I would have probably blocked your WhatsApp for that year, but until you got the gold again.
Exactly.
No, but you kind of need that, I think, and also getting a silver sometimes can realign your vision in that. Do you think, as an athlete, and it's nice to be able to speak to someone legitimate about this, do you think there should be a Steroid Olympics? Because it's something that I really think should happen. I think that there should be an Olympics where everyone can take steroids and do what they want.
There's a mate of mine that is probably going mad watching this right now because he's always having this conversation with me on different topics when it comes to sport like this as well. There's creator games specifically for these people.
Yeah.
One of them being people doping.
Yeah.
Seeing these huge jacked up guys just going and running the 100, it would be beautiful. I think
it would be, right? I think it's amazing. It's like just let everyone take.
I care about the side effects that are coming a year or two later.
Look, the gold, the pins in the balls is the gold, right? Look, the way I see it is there should be a steroid or a performance enhancing Olympics. People who aren't on the performance enhancers, they can also compete in that one too if they feel like they want to say, I am the ultimate and I won all of them. But I think they should be, because look, we're in a place, like you said, that medal. So there are so many athletes, quote me on this, I don't care, that are in normal Olympics, football,
it's happening everywhere.
Everything that are taking something. And they're
you
starting to know how to take them so they don't turn up and all that stuff.
But that's the thing is you find yourself in a situation where doctors, again, I'm just speaking from experience. I'm not saying every country does this or every doctor does it, but you hear stories of doctors working with the athletes instead of against the athletes. So you see it nowadays. I mean, as an athlete, I was getting tested every 2 weeks. They were coming and I had to basically every month tell the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, my whereabouts for the next month. If those whereabouts changed, I had to tell them straight away because they can come knocking on your door any day. If they knock on your door and you're not there, you get a black dot against your name. So they take this seriously. You pissing in a cup every 2 weeks, they taking blood, all these type of things. Now, then, when they were doing these tests, they were testing what they knew was sports enhancing drugs. What's to say that in 10 years' time, they go back and test my pee and they find out, man, Kevin was taking some advanced shit.
But all these Brazilians having the acai bowl before, it was just like giving them powers.
That's the thing is you have doctors and you have teams that are working on things that are you can't test for.
And they're creating bespoke cycles, like bespoke steroid cycles that this will kind of slip in that. Look,
that's the thing.
MMA, all that stuff. Create a steroid league for fighting, for football, for racing,
sports,
for everything.
For all sports.
For podcasts, dude. We'll do one. I'll start
chess.
taking
Have people taking something, going and playing chess.
Have you seen chess boxing?
No.
Have you seen chess boxing? So there's a sport called chess boxing where it's proper boxing. You do a round in the ring.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that stops, you have to go and play chess. You make a move for a minute. You play that. Then as soon as that finishes, you get back punch each other's lights out. Man. And then every round you have to go and play chess. I mean, I don't see the point of it really, but it's like, it's insane the stuff we do. So do you agree with me that we're going to start a league of steroid swimmers?
Make me a team owner.
I'll give you my kids to start now, bro. Yeah, it's insane. Now to another touchy subject. Something, again, look, I'm not afraid to say what I mean. Do you know any trans athletes in the Paralympics?
Okay. I don't know anyone personally taking part or anything like that. No.
If you did, how would you feel about it? And how this question rolls onto, how do you feel about this dude from New Zealand who is...
Personally, again, please don't cancel your show because...
Cancel me. Go for it. I don't care. Truth is truth.
I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's bullshit. I mean, I speak as a South African as well. We've got a female athlete by the name of Caster Semenya, grown up as a woman her entire life, has been competing as a woman her entire life. Now they go and ban her from competing against other women because her testosterone levels are slightly higher than the other women racing.
But this is natural testosterone.
Natural testosterone. So that's on one side. Now, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not speaking from a scientific background or anything, but this person that you spoke about now lived 35 years of their life as a male.
With male bone density.
Exactly. I'm 30. I'm 30 years old now. So give me another 5 years, and then I'm going to decide. And again, I've got... People can decide and change and do whatever it is that they want.
Is this an exclusive on the podcast?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Everyone is free to do that, and I support that side of things. But if I were to, in 5 years' time, decide, okay, I'm going to go the female route and identify as a female and then start competing as a female, I've had 35 years of living as a man. Bone structure,
hormones, bone density,
density, recovery, lactic acid levels, all these type of things,
bone lengths, and
exactly. It's going to give me an advantage. So just on that, is it a level playing field? Hell no. And based off of that, it shouldn't happen.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Just because of the playing fields and the levelness, that's why I say no.
And this is where it gets to that whole, we are becoming too sensitive. I've got nothing against anyone who chooses to live their life the way it... But there's got to be a common sense.
When it comes to sport, it's sport. Equal playing field.
You've got these women who have been training their whole lives to be powerlifters or whatever, and all of a sudden, Jeff decides, oh no, I'm going to be a woman. And to be honest, not making much effort to look like a woman. Like, just because you've grown your hair long, it doesn't mean that you're not... It doesn't make sense. It's not fair. It doesn't make sense. There was a fighter who was doing that. I think her name was Fallon Fox or something.
I'm not too sure on that, but
yeah, in the UFC, just literally started beating the shit out of other women. But it was a dude who changed. And it's like,
when it comes, again, this is not me saying what people are allowed to do and not allowed to do on the way they feel or whether they want to express themselves or be identified.
Exactly,
That is one thing. Sport needs to have equal playing fields. And that's the way I see it is it fair? Yes or no? I don't think it's fair
at all. And what I'm doing, to kind of try and counter this is, next to my steroid league, I am opening a trans...
Man.
I'm opening a trans Olympics where you can all be the same and
exactly
compete against other trans women or men or whatever. Yeah. Again, there's that kind of conversation where I think women should be allowed to compete as men if they were originally women, because they had the disadvantage. Not that being a woman is a disadvantage, but
the scientific
disadvantage. I think that's fine because it's more of a challenge. It's not going down, if you know what I mean, and using it to your advantage. But again, that's just confuses
You can go back
things.
to the Paralympic Games. You can have lower categories swimming against higher categories, but you can't have me the way I am going and swimming the crap out of people without arms and legs and feeling good about it. You can't go down. But that's an interesting one, allowing women to go one way but not the men to go the other way.
I don't know. It angers me. And you know what angers me? Again, it's nothing to do with their sexuality. It's nothing to do with their life choices. What angers me is that there are certain people out there that are going to be annoyed at me for using my common sense about the sport. It's like, it shouldn't be a discussion. Scientifically speaking, they're at an advantage. And you're really putting a lot of these women who have trained their whole lives to get to the Olympics and to get to places. And why? Because we should be correct politically there should be a line.
Just from my side, again, it just becomes down to is it fair?
And it all comes from a place of love, but sometimes we have to be able to go, okay, I get what you're doing, but let's just be...
Exactly, let's be realistic about things,
Also, the same thing. You must have heard about the sprinter that got...
Yeah.
I mean, weed is hardly performance enhancing. As far as I know,
no.
I feel like, again... everyone else had an advantage over her during that race. Should she have been cancelled because of that?
No. Right? But again, that's the thing. Is it's so, like I said to you, is that with the World Anti-Doping Agency does as much as they can to keep the sport clean. They get it right. A lot of the time, they get it wrong. Sometimes as well. I believe in this situation they've gotten it wrong. It's not even an illegal drug or an illegal substance in a lot of countries and a lot of states in America anymore. It still finds itself as a performance enhancing drug or something that you cannot take in competition or out of competition. It's still in that rule book when it comes to the doping agency in sport. Like you just said, that does it give you an advantage?
We need that list, like the swimming list. We need the SC, we need the cocaine, the
Exactly.
the amphetamines,
grey area,
weed, it's all the way down there.
All good.
Yeah.
So it's man, I feel for her.
Yeah.
I feel for her. I mean, we were going to see her do some really special things in just under a month's time. And for something like this, again, we've seen other high-end athletes have the same thing. Michael Phelps, after I think it was after the 2008 games, where there was a picture or video of him puffing a bong. Yeah. He also had a 3-month ban as well. His didn't affect him as much in that it was after the Olympic Games. Hers is affecting her now because now it's going to affect her from going to the Olympic Games.
I think people should be allowed to.
One.
I mean, look.
And on a personal level, she was dealing with things, and this is what she was using. But we're not here to speak about.
Mike Tyson used to smoke weed before a fight. Yeah. And to be honest, if that's how he performed when he was buzzing, I don't want to see what he would have performed like if he wasn't.
When he wasn't, exactly.
So where did you go to from, okay, now I'm moving to Dubai? How did that happen? Where did that story come in?
Oh, man, 2016 games for Rio. I knew that it was going to be my last hoo-ha or that type of thing. My whole life revolved around 8th of September. Up until that point, I was also doing my studies. I was doing law studies in South Africa. I knew that I didn't want to follow that career. And the opportunity came to then go straight from Rio to move to Dubai, where I would still be involved in swimming. And swimming is my passion at the end of the day. I mean, I was looking at that black line at the bottom of the pool 6 hours a day. You're not going to do it if you don't love it, type of thing. So an opportunity came where I could move to Dubai and still be involved with that, and was able to do that for a couple of years. And then that has then been able to enable me to now be where I am now, where I'm able to do the swimming thing, but for myself together with a partner as well in the company that we've created now, which is Huna Aquatics. And the main thing is just we're passionate about swimming. We love everything there is about it, and we're trying to share that with as many people as possible now.
But I mean, even like I said to you before, you really do stand out, and you've got it right with your branding and the little touches that you do different, and your locations and stuff that you do swim in. It really does stand out, and I think it's something that a lot of people need to, I mean, we're going to put all the links and all that stuff. What's the name? Huna.
Huna. Huna. In Arabic, it means here and now.
Yeah.
Here and now. So the biggest thing is no better place than here.
Okay.
No better time than now. Here and now.
Amazing.
Come and learn how to swim.
Brought the Arabic into it.
There we go.
So I was saying Huna. I was saying it wrong. I speak Arabic. It's like Huna.
Exactly.
Okay.
And again, you spoke about it there. It's like when I was doing it for another company, I learned a lot when I was there. When we decided that we're going to do this on our own and go for this at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we were really passionate just when it came down to the name.
Yeah.
Something as small as that, people think, oh, it's just a name. Man, we really enjoyed this process of just coming up with a name. We could have been the generic swim school name. We were like, no, let's go for Huna. There we go, here and now. People are always going to ask, what does that mean? And it's got a story behind it already. Then the branding, the colors, the Pantones, the font, all these things, it was exciting. And because of the passion with swimming, we put that same passion into just creating what is it that's going to be our brand. Then when we had the brand was, okay, we've got the brand, we need to make sure that the service is now going to be of the highest quality as well. I'm coming from the athlete side of things. I don't want to do something half-assed. We need to make sure this is top quality. So it comes down to the venues, comes down to the team that you have. And I learned that obviously being an athlete as well, is you're only as good as your team. You need to have people that are passionate about what it is that you're trying to do, common goals, common values. Doesn't matter if it's our coaches or if it's our team that's greeting you at the reception or doing the bookings. It needs to be a good person, and we want to or surround ourselves with those type of people in the same mindset. So the people, the venues, our branding, and what it is that we want our people arriving to and leaving with, that's the most important things for us.
I mean, it is. I mean, you've got a great team there, and you know the kids are there training to be Olympians.
There we go. Which Olympics though? Is it going to be the clean, the testosterone?
Well, first I'll try them in the clean. If they don't get the gold, I'll put them in the test one.
And then after that, then we can go to the
exactly.
trans.
I'll put them in everything, man. I'll get the pins ready.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, you created something that, like, even because we're there at the hotel all the time, you know, at Jumeirah Beach Hotel, one of the locations, amazing location. You've literally got, I mean, it is something out of, you know, a storybook. You've got the pool, especially at night. You have the lights from the pool and the Burj Al Arab in the background. And even after, when we're coming home from kids club and stuff, the boys are always like, yeah, but we need to go and see Rihanna and say hello and all that stuff.
Say hello and
just
goodbye
like,
to the coach.
Mate, you didn't train today, okay? I just need to go home. Like, I got to get you in the car. I don't realize how long they're taking all that. But it's like the community vibe, and everyone's very kind of, it's not a fake, it's not a business style
But that's
thing.
the thing is, it's from sorry if I'm jumping jumping in there. In Dubai, parents are busy. I know you know you've got schedules coming out of your brain. My kid needs to do this, there. And I understand that as a business owner. I understand that as a coach as well. But still, if you're bringing your child, even if it's just for 1 half-an-hour session a week to us, it needs to be an experience.
Yeah.
You need to be excited to come. Your child needs to be excited to come. The child must love the lesson and needs to be leaving with a bigger smile on their face, and the parent needs to be feeling the same. And what creates that? Again, it's the brand, the people, the service you're getting, and the venues. So we're making sure that we're trying to tick all these boxes to create an experience for every single person who comes to any one of our lessons. And again, like you touched on, there's to be part of more than just a swimming lesson, but to be part of a community. So we make sure we create these pockets of communities. You'll see there when you come to the lessons, all the parents will also be sitting together. They all know each other. Hey, what's going on? How's this going? They're all having their conversations as well. That's what the kids group classes. Then you have the adult side of things as well. We have adults who don't know how to swim. They've lived their entire lives with this fear of water. Now, living in Dubai, staycations, water is always involved when you live in Dubai.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of these parents, they've got a fear of water, but now their kids are learning to swim, and they're going to miss out on being able to share that experience with the kid. So you've got these adults fighting that fear to come and learn how to swim. We need to create an environment that's inviting for someone with that fear. So they need to be able to come in and not be afraid or feel judged or anything. So we're creating that pocket or that community. Then you've got your athletes who can swim, your businessmen, executives, that type of thing. They just want to get away from everything and come and swim a couple of laps every single day or every second day. So we're trying to create pockets of community where people can just leave their lives, come into the pool, enjoy their time, and share that passion with other people around them.
Yeah, totally. I remember I was leaving. It was one evening, and you guys were about to start your evening class. And I was being a bit of a hater, to be honest, because I saw everyone, they're all putting their caps on and all getting kind of, they're having their laughing conversations and all that stuff. And I was just like, hey, I'm cool too. I want to talk to you guys.
I want to be part of this little group.
So you guys do like, the triathlons and the open water, and then you do the Wild Waddy as well. Let's talk about Wild Waddy, because there's a crazy river in Wild Waddy, some big crazy river. And I was there today.
It's called the Lazy River, but it's...
no, for me, it's the crazy river. It's a lazy river.
They got it wrong with the
Which way do you swim? Because I thought you guys swim with the current as normal. But then I thought, what if they do that way across the current? And I was like, yeah, well, I can do that anyway. So I missed my turning where I was supposed to get off because I was just in a dinghy, just going around like that. And I was like, okay, let me do this. And with my flawless dolphin technique and everything I know about swimming, got about 3 meters and I was out, bro. I was just like,
done.
I was like,
oh man, I mean, well, first of all, we need to say thank you to Wild Waddy for coming on board and giving us this opportunity over the summer. Like I said there earlier, we're very passionate about swimming. So in the winter, every weekend, you'll see our community. This is not us as a company, but this is just a community that we are part of. We go and do these extreme swims, if it's around Burj Al Arab or to the World Islands and back, or along the coast of Dubai. So we're always looking for fun ways of getting people involved and moving forward and just creating a community at the end of the day. And now summer is coming. Now, obviously, the ocean's way too warm. So we thought, okay, we've got a partner with Jumeirah. Wild Waddy is here. Man, let's go swim in the Lazy River. So they were on board straight away. So we were very, very lucky with that. And obviously, everyone came in with these intentions and ideas. I'm going to swim against the current. I'm going to push through. It's going to be easy.
Nope.
It is. It is difficult.
Nope.
Exactly.
That's what I'm gonna say,
You quickly find out that it's not a walk in the park. And I mean, from a technical side of things, it's great because if we do make the swimmer swim against the current, they really need to work on their technique and their efficiency of the stroke. If you don't have a good technique and an efficient stroke, you ain't going nowhere. You're going like backwards.
Me. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You're going to feel it very, very quickly. But again, when we do these swims, it's to get out of the hot ocean water, to have the opportunity to not swim in a pool, but to have something different going. And we swim with the current. Every now and then we challenge against. But
again, that's another thing that is really cool about what you're doing, which is different. You should have seen me today, dude. I turned around and I had my most professional feeling in my body that I was going to do something that looked really cool, and the people going past me were going to be like, wow, look at that guy swimming past.
Aquaman.
I literally just went
and back again.
And then just turned around underwater, and I was in like a kind of
More than welcome to come join us on our next
Dude,
swim on
I'm
a
down,
Saturday.
bro. I'm down, and I'll show you exactly how it's going on. What happens now? What's the way forward from now? And one thing I would want to ask you: why did you decide that was your last? Is it an age thing? Or?
Not an age thing at all. I mean, it comes down to I knew I was being extremely selfish.
Yeah.
Or to get to that point. From the way that I look at it now, I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm no longer the person that everyone's looking at and trying to help get to a goal. I'm now able to be part of other people's journeys. And again, when we're working with people, it's not about making the next Olympic champion. It's just creating a better version of what they were yesterday. And yes, it's only a swimming lesson, but I strongly believe when you send your kids to the lesson with Rihanna, they're not only learning swimming.
No, of course.
She is a great person herself, personality traits as an ex-professional swimmer as well. So those traits are rubbing off on your kids as well. So they learn a lot from their coaches, not only the technical things of swimming, but they're learning a lot of other things there as well. So I felt like it was time for me to not give. I don't want to sound like I'm giving back to the sport. But I felt like I could share a lot more in that way than just being selfish and trying to do it for myself.
Nice. And what's next? I mean, where do we go? I mean, apart from coaching the twins into their gold medals.
There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, so Huna Aquatics, that's what I live for at the moment. My partner and I, we did this to do this properly. We've spent time on making sure we're ticking the correct boxes. We've got great venue partners at the moment. You'll be able to see those if you go and check online and that type of thing. But it's now making sure that we can give accessibility to more people to this. My biggest goal or my biggest dream is to make sure that every child can learn how to swim. Not to become an Olympian, but to learn that life lesson. Yes, gymnastics is great, ballet is great, horse riding is great for these activities, but learning to swim is a life lesson.
Yeah, none of them are going to save your life as well if you fall into the pool.
Exactly. So that's the biggest thing, is if I can make sure that every child in Dubai eventually has got the accessibility to go and learn how to swim, then I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think the numbers as well of child deaths from in countries like this where, you know, a lot of people have a villa and a pool there, and you know, it won't look aesthetically nice to put a cage around the pool, you know, that kind of thing. I think the numbers are quite high with mortalities.
It's all
with
over the
that kind of
world.
stuff. Yeah,
well, it's scary numbers.
Yeah, so I think it's really important. I mean, even with myself, with the boys, knowing that, I mean, okay, they're not Olympic swimmers yet. Give them a week, but knowing that if they fall in, they're cool, has taken such a weight off my shoulders.
And that's huge.
Yeah, it's
huge,
insane.
and that's why we do what we do. And then on that as well is what we do. One thing that we focus on as well is even in Dubai, we've got a lot of nannies and helpers as well in the household. If you as a parent aren't there, you also want to know that the child is safe in the hands of the nannies or the helpers. So we offer those classes as well.
So you do the nanny. That is
teaching the
very
nannies
smart.
water
Very
safety
smart.
as well, so that if anything, God forbid, were to go wrong with the child, your house help is able to save the child as well. So we just
that's very interesting.
So we're really passionate about safety first.
Yeah.
Yes, along the way we're going to have some talented swimmers and potentially go on to be Olympic athletes, but that's not the main focus at the beginning. The main focus is fall in love with swimming. Doesn't matter what age you are. Be safe in the water, and then just grow that love and get better in the water.
How much do you recommend swimming as a way for opening up your lung capacity and that kind of things? Because I looked very fit. Like, not so much now. If you saw me a year ago, you would have been like,
Who's this guy?
Yeah, you'd be like, who's this guy? How you do it? No, but even then, when I was externally fit. Yeah, I was shredded. I had muscle mass and everything. But you put me in a pool and told me to do 10 laps.
Very different story.
At about 3 laps, I would have been like, look, how many of these are left, mate? Well, I've got nothing to prove, me. I'm not going to do the other 7. You know, how much do you kind of recommend that as an actual thing?
I mean, the benefits of swimming are huge.
Yeah.
You can list 20 or 30 things just right now type of thing. But like you said, their lung capacity. I was asthmatic as a kid. So doctors told my parents, swim. That's going to build lung capacity. So you touched on it there. But I mean, just in terms of an exercise which is low impact on the knees, on the shoulders, and those type of things, it is a sport that you can do for a long time with a lot of benefits. So it's more a lifestyle than anything else. It's gonna keep you healthy.
Is there, if you could leave everybody with something now, what would you leave with them?
Man,
a final leaving thought.
I'll come back. Have we got time for a little story?
We got as many time as long as you want. We got 5 hours.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Enjoy, guys. This is a long story. No,
It all started in 1983 before
when
I was born.
Exactly. No, but I mean, people often ask, what's the one moment or the best race or this or that type of thing that you're going to remember for your entire life? It's not so much a race or a medal. It's things that I learned by being involved in the Paralympic movement that have really created the person that I am today. Now, the one story, I won't beat around the bush and give all the different stories, but one story that changed my life was in London, 2012, in the Athletes Village, playing a game of Jenga. Now, the game of Jenga that we were playing there, it wasn't the small one on the table, it was the large one where it's on the floor and you play like that. Now, first story, we had people from all different countries playing this game. There's pool tables and everyone's having a good time. There were two small people / midgets / whatever you have to call them nowadays without offending people, but they were playing a game against each other of Jenga. Now, because the game is starting off and it's already this high, 3 or 4 levels down the road, the game was over for them, not because the tower had fallen over, but because these guys couldn't reach the top anymore. So at the Paralympic Games, we were just laughing about it. Now, if you tell that story to a few other people, they're going to feel awkward, like, am I allowed to laugh? This is Kevin, how can you say that? But at that moment there, just watching people laugh and enjoy it, that was a real eye-opener. Then, still the game of Jenga, I played against a teammate who's completely blind.
Wow.
Completely blind. Grew up as someone who could see. Went to the doctors one day because he was complaining about something. As a young child, doctor told him, you're going to lose your eyesight.
Wow.
So he lost what we take for granted, being able to see. Played against him in a game of Jenga. He would feel every single block. After he gets to the top level, he'll go directly to the block that he knows is the loosest one and push it straight out. He ended up beating me in that game of Jenga.
Wow.
Not because I let him, but because he beat me fair and square. And that moment there, I was just like, Kevin, never in your life again do you complain about something you don't have. Just be thankful. So you asked there if there's one thing I can have people get out of this or anything like that, is be thankful for what you do have, because if you're comparing to everyone else, you're always going to feel like you don't have enough. Make do with what you've got. If you've got the right mindset, if you have the right team or the right environment, you will be able to get towards that goal. Be thankful for the position you're in and just drive forward.
Be patient.
Exactly.
Wow, dude, it's been a absolutely amazing chat with you.
Thank you.
I think we need to do 3 or 4 more of these in the future, and do some updates.
No, we can be commentating at the different Olympic Games
right?
that we're going to be running. There we go.
I'm going to need commentators. Guys, there you have it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment down there. It's been really cool to hear your story, dude.
Thanks,
really
man. Thanks for having me here.
No, anytime, dude. Benga, if you can get a couple of pins, we have some tests we need to run on you. Yeah, bro. And again, we look forward to making it a family affair and staying with you guys and keeping it going. And I highly recommend Huna Aquatics to everyone. We'll have all their links everywhere, up, down, left, right, whatever. Yeah, man. I don't know. I just feel like I need a gold medal in something now.
I can get you one of those chocolate ones.
Yeah, right.
There we go. You
We'll
can wear it around your
it.
Exactly.
Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.